Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Oh, I heard that. So close. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. And how do you do? Hey everyone, welcome back to another vlog on the channel. Welcome back to another weekend in my life vlog, because today is a Saturday, it's 1 p.m. and we are just getting started with the day. And let me tell you, this morning it was hot. It is 93 degrees Fahrenheit. Yesterday it was like 73, comfortable, nice and easy. But this entire week and entirely of next week is going to be in the high 90s. I didn't ask for that, weather people, but I will say I've already had a good morning so far. I woke up around like 8 o'clock this morning and I already took Randy Joe to day camp, so he's out and about doing his little fun stuff with his friends. But I did actually take him before he went to day camp to this new bookstore that's in my area, and I've been checking it out for a while on like socials, like waiting for it to open, like the pop-up location and everything. And when they said that they're going to be opening on their first day today, Saturday, I had to go and check it out. And so I have been learning how to read better and like read books that I actually enjoy. And so I love reading like a lot of thriller, mystery, horror, murder, sometimes romance and fantasy books. And I have grown my collection quite a bit so far. Physical books and also ebooks on like my Kindle, and audiobooks too. And it's become a problem, but a good problem to have, because my TBR list is forever growing, and it's just, it's going great. It's going great. And right now I'm currently reading basically like 4 books at the same time, because I like to, decide what I want to read that night or that day. I'm reading The Crash and The Tenant by Frida McFadden. I'm also reading Remarkably Bright Creatures right now. I'm more so listening to it on Audible just because I saw the book, but I wanted to like listen to it first and then buy the actual physical copy. But I'm reading Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt on Audible. And it's actually getting really good. It's a very like interesting point of view from an octopus's like perspective. And so far it's not too bad. I'm still learning more about it. I tend to go back and forth between different chapters as I listen to it, because I like to re-understand what I actually heard and go a little bit more in depth. But I found that book on Audible. People have recommended it to me on like Twitch. And then I said, I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to get it. And I'm liking it so far. The Tenant is downright crazy in a good way. I love The Tenant. Frida McFadden's like mind is just out of this world. And she's coming out with a brand new book very soon. I think it's called The Intruder, but that doesn't come out until like October. So basically next month. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? Either way, a lot of books on my TBR. The 4th book that I'm reading is called, well, technically I'm reading 5 books. I'm sorry. The 4th book that I'm reading right now is called The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. And then the other book I'm reading is called The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morse. And so there's like 5 books. I've heard really good things about all of them. And I'm like, ooh, lots of things to read. So I'm reading 5 books, technically reading 4, listening to 1, all at the same time. And they're all really great. If you haven't read them or heard them, you should. Highly recommend. And another thing that I found out while I make my little food here, what I found out recently, which was like maybe 3 years ago, I would say, is that if you have Spotify Unlimited, what you can do is listen to audiobooks on there, and you get like 15 hours per month using your Spotify Premium subscription. And when I found that out, I was like, yes. Because like I love reading, but picking up a physical book was sometimes hard for me. And audiobooks kind of gave me that new enjoyment that I needed at the time. And now that I still use Spotify, and I've been using Spotify since 2014 is since I've been paying for it. So over a decade now. And they just recently started doing audiobooks, maybe about like, I think like maybe 2-3 years ago at this point. It's been there for a while. But when I found out there was like audiobooks and you can get them for free using your Spotify premium account, I thought that was like a really great idea, especially if there's also books you've been waiting to like find. They might be on there. So I recommend that if you have Spotify. But the two books that I got at my indie bookstore today is called Ray Bearer by Jordan Ifanko. I hope I said their last name right. But it's a new book that came out, and I just followed them on Instagram, and I am very excited. They are a New York Times bestseller. Ray Bearer. Check it out if you haven't. But basically, it says, what if you were sworn to protect the one you were born to destroy? Isn't that crazy? Little things like that always get me hooked. I'm like, you were sworn to protect, but you were born to destroy. Isn't that crazy? And then the other book that I got was River Sing Me Home is another book that I got today by Eleanor Scherer. Hopefully I said that last name right too. But I heard that it's also part of the Book of the Month Club, which I'm not a part of, but I'm considering of checking it out. But I always like to support indie local bookstores when I can. And I found out this book, and this was actually on the used book catalog area in the bookstore, because I think someone else like had read it and like said, hey, I'm not reading this anymore, let me donate it. And this book was like $3. And I'm like, I do love a good discount. Discounts are my best friend. But essentially, it's a very nice book. It's very historical. They say it's rare, moving, powerful, this beautiful page-turning and redeemative story of a mother's gripping journey across the Caribbean to find her stolen children in the aftermath of slavery is a remarkable debut. So I think it's like really cool, but it's also kind of like around the same day of the Emancipation Act of 1834. So I'm really interested. I like history. Didn't like history in high school, but I find like understanding about history in general is so important and so cool. So having this book is going to be very helpful for me. It's less than 400 pages, which is what I love. For River Sing Me Home is less than 400 pages. And then Ray Bearer is also less than 400 pages as well. So it's kind of like in my repertoire of book reading, less than 400 pages. As I continue to read more, I can increase that limit more and more and more. But these are my two little recommendations that I would say that I think y'all would like. But either way, I'm going to heat up my food, sit down and relax on the couch and watch some TV for a little bit, and then go upstairs and work on some YouTube videos and also my podcast, so that way I can get that set and ready to go since it's launching this month. And I cannot wait to share more news about that, especially in this vlog. I might share more tomorrow on Sunday if I have time, which I will. I will make time to share more details. But I think tomorrow also I want to do some baking if I can. I might go to Aldi's and see if they have any pumpkin puree, or I want to get more apples because I found a recipe to make either pumpkin pancakes or apple pancakes. I want to try either or, but I want to do a lot of baking this weekend, and so that way I can enjoy that and vlog a little bit and enjoy, and yeah, good stuff.
Stops tossing the rag back into the sink.
You haven't found your hat yet. No! And Eddie's leaving for Cabo Camp any minute. I can't find it anywhere. Don't worry, Woody. In just a few hours, she'll be sitting around a campfire with Andy making delicious hot schmoes.
Schmoes?
Right.
Hey everyone, it's the next day. It is Sunday. I'm in the kitchen working on some stuff right now. I'm actually getting ready to go out in a little bit to go to the grocery store, because what I'm noticing, at least for me, going forward, I want to do a lot of meal prepping and not have to think of what to eat during the day, afternoon, and even at night. So I thought making a nice quick grocery list for myself so that way I can buy some groceries either at Aldi's or Fresh Time or Kroger's or whatever store there is. I need to get that stuff. And I actually found a recipe online. Oh my gosh. I actually found a recipe online by Love and Lemons, and it occurred to me that I've never really tried lentil soup before. And I was like, wait, that's actually a really good idea to make that. We have almost all the ingredients to make it, but we're just missing a few things like carrots, kale, garlic cloves, thyme, onions, and we need a little bit more vegetable broth. But I'm gonna make that today because one, it sounds really yummy and we have a lot of lentils and I need to use those. I've also considered of making some like apple pancakes or either pumpkin pancakes. I know it's a little bit too early because fall doesn't officially start until like later this month in September. So we're still in the summer season, but it doesn't hurt to plan early, especially when it's like right around the corner. So I'm right now journaling of like what stuff I want to make and also what stuff I need to get. I'm considering of making pumpkin bread this year because I didn't make it last year. I made apple bread last year and it was good. It wasn't bad, but I think I want to make pumpkin bread because it seems like a fun idea and I want to experiment with like my baking and try something new, especially if I'm going to like do some hosting in the future because I plan on moving at the end of this year or sometime next year if possible. And I want to actually like adventure out and like do hosting and meet other adults. It's crazy to say this because I'm not joking. I have friends, but all of my friends are mostly online and they live in different parts of the world in different states. So I don't get to see them as often, but I have like other friends that I've met in like university that I still talk to, but then they're also doing their own thing too in high school. So far, all I know, this sounds crazy. All I know, I have two friends, two adult friends who live very, very close. And I'm like, ooh, it's crazy. It's so odd to say this because I'm not joking. As you get older, it's so hard to make adult friends because you're out in the world doing your own thing, going to different places, and finding other like-minded people that are around like your same age is hard. In high school and like elementary school, it was so easy because you saw them every single day. So I'm like thinking, making adult friends is actually kind of hard, but it can also be easy when you find like the right like-minded people at the same time. But I'm gonna write down some recipes and get that stuff done.
지친 하루 끝 문득 들려온 너의 목소리 따뜻한 그 말 조용히 피어난 노란 봄 웃는 네 모습을 보면 괜히 심장이 빨라지고 너랑 걷는 이 길 위에 시간이 멈췄으면 해 눈빛 한 번이면 충분해 그 어떤 말보다 우린 깊게 이어져 지금 이 느낌 그대로 계속 바라볼래 조금만 더 이렇게 걷자 지금이 너무 좋아서 이젠 말해도 될 것 같아 널 향한 맘을 내가 먼저 다가가도 돼 그냥 옆에 있고 싶은 거야 I just wanna be close to you 그냥 이대로 자연스럽게 가끔 말 돌려도 한 번쯤은 웃어줘 괜히 애꿎은 두번 만들었다 놨다 계속 붙어있고 싶다 바짝 넌 아무렇지 않은 척 그게 헷갈리게 만들어 눈빛 한 번이면 충분해 그 어떤 말보다 우린 깊게 이어져 지금 이 느낌 그대로 계속 바라볼래 조금만 더 이렇게 걷자 지금이 너무 좋아서 이젠 말해도 될 것 같아 널
Hey everyone, so it's currently the next week and I'm actually here to not end the vlog, I'm here to continue the vlog because I realized the last clip you all saw was me, I think, cooking lentil soup, which by the way, it turned out really good and it tasted phenomenal. Not to toot my own horn here, but I feel like when I follow a recipe and like take it step by step and slow, it turns out very good, at least for me. But then the next day, the soup tastes even better. So I will link down the recipe in the description in case you want to check it out for yourself. It's made by Love and Lemons on Instagram, and I follow them and they're really great at making recipes. So I like finding new things, especially for the fall season. And I felt like personally for me to do a proper fall reset for myself is that I need to start organizing a lot better on my computer and also in my real life. And I thought today, before I end the vlog, I wanted to actually start organizing all the books that I have collected in the past decade because I have a lot of books and I need to sort out what I want to keep and what I want to like get rid of and donate because the stuff that I have and the stuff that my parents have, we don't read anymore and we just don't need them at all. So I'm gonna do that and we shall get stuff organized. So sit back, relax, do some body doubling with me, and let's get started. So to start things off on my book cleaning haul, I realize I have a lot of books, one that I've recently purchased, and two books that I've had for nearly a decade since I was in elementary school. But there are some books that I want to keep and some books that I just don't want anymore. Because I feel like if I accumulate a lot of books, they're just going to accumulate dust and clutter, and that's not what I want. Now, I recently bought this book called The Tenant by Frida McFadden. I'm still reading it right now, mostly the e-version portion, but I like having a physical copy so that way if I want to read along or if I'm like listening to the audiobook, I can still like read the pages. Plus, I feel like e-copies don't really have a lot when it comes to like deeper meaning because I found out that this book, The Tenant, actually has a reading group guide at the very end of the book. I didn't know that. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep this. Plus, it's a really nice cover. And they're coming out with, I believe, a movie by Amazon MGM. So that's going to be very exciting to see how that goes. I know that they're making a movie based off of the Housemaid book series. And so that should be really fun to watch and also read eventually. And then this other book is called The Fire Within. It's a scholastics book that I've had for, golly dang, for like 10,000 years since I was in elementary school, by Chris D. Lacey. I've read it once and I liked it, but I personally feel like I don't need to read this again. So I'm going to put this in the donate pile. There we go. Now we can see everything. Now the next books that I have is the Spiderwick Chronicle books. I have book 1 and book 3. I don't know how I don't have book 2, but this was like one of like my favorite childhood books that I read as a kid, and I watched the TV show that was on Roku and then ended, but I've been a big fan of these books for a very long time, so I want to keep these for sure. Now this next book that I got is called The Lotteries Plus One. I recently just got this, so I haven't read it yet, but it is a book that I want to keep for sure because I bought it and it was only $3, so I had to get it. The other book that I did mention at the beginning of this vlog was Ray Bearers, and I'm going to be reading this. And then I also have The Strangers Upstairs, that is also brand new. And then River Sing Me Home is also brand new. So I have a few books that I'm keeping over here, one book to donate. I have some other books in this little cubby here. A while back ago, I did like an office makeover video that's on this channel, I believe. Oh, hello. Yeah, it was on this channel a few years ago that I did an office makeover video of transforming my one room that was blue to yellow and make it an extreme yellow office makeover. And I believe it's on this channel, I'm pretty sure. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. But either way, the next book that I'm gonna put in the keep pile is You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince. It's kind of like You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch type of novel. And to be honest, I don't know much about it. I saw it at a bookstore at Belleville Books. It looked like a really good book, and it's Christmas related, and it's a charming, and it's just so nice and lovely. It's like an adult rom-com book, and it's perfect for fans who love Schitt's Creek and also Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I've seen both that movie and the TV show. So I'm like, I'll take it. So I'm going to keep this over here. And then I also have Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. And if you've ever seen that movie, it is so great. I love the second one and the first one. The other ones that they did were like, but they were there. But Roderick Rules is like one of my favorite books that I read as a kid. Plus, it's all illustrated and it's like so funny. And I think I want to definitely keep this just like as like a memory for myself. So I'm going to put this in the keep pile. Now, the next book I'm going to keep is called We Quit America, and I haven't read it yet, but my mom got me this book. And personally, I think it's very important to have more reading material that's from different genres. So I'm going to keep this so I can have something to consume on a car ride or a train ride or whatever it might be. So I'm going to keep that one. The next book that I have is Make Noise, A Creator's Guide to Podcasting and Great Audio Storytelling. And personally, I don't really fully remember where I got this or how I got this, but I'm thinking I probably got this when I was in university because I had like an audio type class that I took for like one semester. And if you all have ever been in school or like at university or college and the teacher asked you in their syllabus to buy this book or rent this book because you might need it for like reading material for an assignment or whatever it might be, I think that's why I have this book, because I don't think I would have bought it either other way. But I will tell you, I'm glad that I have this because since I am relaunching my podcast for season 2 this year and understanding that podcasting is just not like yapping and then just uploading something, there's a lot more that goes into it. The storytelling, the questions you ask, how to build your podcast, how to build your audience. And this book goes really in depth with everything. I personally have not read it, and it probably was for a class. But I did pass that class, so it was fine. The next few books I'm going to put into the keep pile is Hunters in the Dark by Lawrence Osborne. I got this in New York, and it was actually across the street from a bar on Waverly Place, like the Waverly Place. So I got this book, haven't read it yet, but I thought it looked like a really good title, and the idea of this book, the synopsis of the book, really caught my eye. So I knew I was going to fall in love with it regardless, and I love a good like murder mystery, thriller novel for a genre. So I'm always looking forward to like those type of books. They're very dark and droopy, but they keep my interest and I like them. The next book that I have that I got on sale that was like $1 is called Among the Hidden, and it's actually the first book in the Shadow Children sequence created by Margaret Peterson Haddix. And what's funny enough, I actually read this book 10,000 years ago in grade school, and I always loved Margaret's books because they were so captivating and so interesting that I knew I was going to love this genre. Like back when I was like really young, I didn't think I actually would like it, like that genre. But then as I got older, I started to understand that I actually do like that genre. So I'm definitely gonna keep this book. I'm gonna read it again and really like get into it. But I want to actually get the next book in the series, Among the Imposters, and then also Among the Betrayed, and then Running Out of Time. Now the next book I'm going to put in the keep pile is called Five Found Dead, and I recently just got this book in Edwardsville at an indie bookstore called Afterword Book, and it's so cute and so cozy and very just like adorable to go into and just look at it, everything. But I got this book and it caught my eye because essentially it is like this murder mystery book where these twins, Meredith and Meredith and Joe are twins, and they're on this train, and basically they are like among this group of people, and like a mysterious disappearance happens in this cabin, and somehow they are basically the only two left on this train, and 5 people are found dead. It's a weird book, but it's a very interesting book. I haven't really read it yet, but I am like keeping my eye out for something to read like either at night or in a train or a plane, whatever it might be. I might take this book to TwitchCon with me. I might take several books with me to TwitchCon. Now the next 2 books that are going into the keep pile is Right for the Role by John Frank Levy and Voice of the Ocean by Kelsey and Peacha K. So these are all the books that I'm going to be keeping for now. However, the donate pile is very, very small. So what we're going to do is go downstairs to the basement because we have more books that I literally do not need. So we're going to do that. Hope for the best we find something to also donate, because just having one is not good enough for me. Okay, so I apologize for the horrible lighting. We got overhead lighting, not the best kind of lighting. But we're here in the basement. We got a gigantic bookcase filled with my book, my mom's books, and my dad's book. Mostly my parents' books because I didn't read a lot in school. But I will say I have some books that I want to go through. I actually have 2 of these books. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. So honestly, I'm going to literally donate this book because I have 2 of these. One upstairs and then this one down here. So this will be donated for sure. I actually have, oh, I do. Oh, that's not it. This isn't Captain Underpants. This is The Curse of the Campfire Weenies and Other Wrapped and Creepy Tales. Yeah, I literally do not need this book. So David Lubar, you shall be donated today. So I'm gonna put that in the donate pile. Oh my gosh, friends, if you remember Stink, the Incredible Shrinking Kid, if you remember this book, I remember reading this book as a kid, and honestly, I haven't read it since. But it's been many, many, many years, and I think I want to get rid of it because it's collecting dust, and it's a good book to read. Oh my gosh, wait, meet Judy Moody's brother. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Oh my gosh, Judy. If you all remember Judy Moody, I forgot Judy Moody had a brother. So that makes total sense. Stink is Judy Moody's brother. That's so cool. But anyway, I'm going to donate that because I don't want it. And then I have another one, Wilmina Rules, How to Fish for Trouble. Rule book number 2. The other book I think I want to get rid of, but honestly I might keep, but also donate. It's called Hidden Treasure, a Bika book reading program. I've read this like a couple of times by Laurel Hicks. And I think this was for either the Read and Run Marathon or some type of like library reading program. But I remember having this, and I don't need it anymore. So this shall be going away for sure. And then I think the other book I have is a Captain Underpants book, but I don't remember exactly. Oh, I do have the Jigsaw Jones mystery book, The Case of the Stolen Baseball Cards by James Perler. And I haven't read this book in 10,000 years, so this book shall be donated for sure. I have a lot of children books that I've collected over the years that I either have read several times in school, or I've just like been given these books for some odd reason, but I don't read anymore. So I'm just gonna donate all of my kids' books. We have quite a few books here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 books here, 1 upstairs. So we have a total of 7 books to donate that are mine, that I don't want anymore, that someone else can utilize. So we're gonna do that. That should be really fun. And I personally think what I want to do is go back upstairs and show you a little bit of how I make my Twitch schedule using Adobe Express. Okay, so I'm at my desk right now, and I wanted to show you all how I edit my Twitch schedule using Adobe Express, because I personally have been using Adobe Creative Cloud since the dawn of time, and over the years I've learned how to use like Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and even Premiere Pro, which is the program that I use to edit all of my videos. But when Adobe Express came out, I was really happy because it's like an all-in-one type of thing. I can use it on my phone, my iPad, on my computer. And as a visual learner, I find myself wanting to be more visual with like what my schedule is day to day, especially if something changes. I can like make a quick edit and like change it here and then upload to Discord or wherever it's at. So for me personally, what I always like to see here is like, what is my schedule? What am I doing? I always put like what time it is, because since I live in the central time zone, I like to add in the central time zone just for that. So I like using Adobe Express because it's easy on the fly. I'm able to add in all of my branding in one singular place, and it could be all right then and there. my brand colors, my brand font, my logos, my little icons that I like are all in one place. And since technically Adobe Express is a product, you can use it on your phone, your iPad, whatever it might be, and it can all be streamlined. You can even share this amongst your friends, coworkers, employees, so that way if they wanted to add anything or like change some stuff, they can. And what's also great about it too is that you can download it for like a PDF, PNG, JPEG, whatever it might be, especially in different sizes. So another fun thing is that since I am like relaunching my podcast and everything, I want to make sure that I have proper social media sizes for all platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all the places, and every platform have their very own, dimensions. And it can be very hard, especially when like they're changing things. And so what I like about this is that they have a resize tool, and they have resizing for like all the social medias that are out there as of right now, whether it's like for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Google Ads. If you use Google Ads, photos, videos, documents, they have everything you basically need. It's like your one-stop shop to be productive without going crazy. So that is my Twitch schedule, but I wanted to show you how I make my social media posts for my podcast, which I'm about to post on Monday, of a clip from Azamara when I interviewed her from season 1 back in like 2021. So recently I had posted a clip of Little Simsy talking about how St. Jude charity fundraising is so near and dear to her heart, and how cancer-based charities are like so important to her and her family, that I wanted to shine light on her a little bit more, since September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And since Simsy was talking about how her and her community in 2020 raised over $200,000 in 1 month, that I thought it'd be a really good idea to highlight and like share all the stats that she has done for charity in the past several years, especially for St. Jude, because in May, in 1 month this year of 2025, her and her community raised over $1 million for St. Jude. And since it was Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and Simsy is just a very knowledgeable and so kind and generous person, I wanted to highlight that clip. And it's like fast forwarding several years. Who would have thought? So what I'm going to do is replace this image with Azamara's image, since I want to highlight what she was talking about Black representation in gaming, because it's very important to me and very important in general, because the gaming industry is just like all over the place, and there's not a lot of Black representation in video games, whether it's a game dev studio, hairstyles, skin tones, clothing, culture, everything, especially in The Sims and just other video games out there. There's really not a lot. So I wanted to highlight this clip so that way, one, it's very important to talk about, and two, Azamara is a very good person and a very good friend of mine. And her episode was actually episode 11 of season 1. And since I'm going to be launching this on Monday, I want to call it Mindful Mondays, or Mindful Monday. So that way it's not like a Tuesday or whatever. So we're going to just do this right here. And I found all these fonts through Adobe fonts, and it's so nice and seamless since I use Creative Cloud and everything, and I use Adobe font, it's like imported right into my Adobe Express without having the hassle of bopping and weaving and trying to find things. So Mindful Monday, season 1, episode 11, and then we're going to change this to Azamara. There we go. All nice and tidy. We're going to make sure everything is centered, so that way we know it is not like crazy. So there's that. And usually I like to leave the bottom for just captions, so that way it's easier to see. But we're going to leave this bottom part for captions. I'm going to replace this audio because this is actually Simsy's audio and not Azamara's audio. So we're going to upload the audio from the episode. And since it's technically not the same length, we're going to have to extend this just ever so slightly, just like a little bit, not too much. But there we go. And that is the clip. And I always like to add in a little animation to the little social media post so it pops a little bit more. So it just like pops up, and I think it's kind of nice. So I have a little bit of that going on, a little eye-catching moment. And what I usually do is I like to download it, so that way I just have it just in case if I need to do something. I download it, and then eventually I will add captions to it, which you can still do all through Adobe Express. So if you want to make captions in Adobe Express, all you have to do is just go back to like the main menu hub and you can just type in captions. And if you see caption video, you want to click that. And then this way you can actually just drag and drop or browse your video and insert it in here. And then what it'll do is start making captions for you, which you'll be able to edit and change however you want, especially when you're like making different colors for the text so it highlights what it's saying. And what I like to do mostly for me when I'm making these clips, I like to snag a little color from the person's like headshot to replicate the text as it's being highlighted as they're speaking. So now that it's officially analyzed the entire video, which is only like a minute long, we now have the captions for everything. And I'm going to like just kind of highlight and scrub through it to see if things look good. I want to change the color of the little border around the words, and I want to go with more of a red color possibly, or a green color. I think a green color would be really nice to kind of shine it up a little bit more. And this is actually a new headshot that Azamara did recently for her birthday, which I thought was really cool. So it feels very, very nice. And since we can't really technically move the font down or anything like right here, we can just add it into our editor and do all that stuff on the back end. But I want to make sure if the words are all correct, because sometimes captions, they're still new. They're a little bit funky, but they get the job done and eventually they will look good. So for me, mostly, I think the captions are pretty much okay, and I like what it's looking like, and everything seems to be pretty peachy good. And I think what we can do is go ahead and open it up in the editor, so that way I can move the text just down from where it's at, so that's the way it's not blocking the headshot. So we're gonna go and click on this right here, the whole thing actually. And then we're just going to move it down ever so slightly so we know exactly where it's being placed. Just do that right around here. And that looks good. And the good part about it too, it syncs to what the audio is saying. So with all that being said, what I can now do with this clip is I can download it and I can actually schedule it on my shared calendar through Adobe Express. So another fun thing, this clip is very long, but another fun thing about this is that you can actually add this to a Google Drive if you're sharing it with somebody just like in different countries or whatever, but you can actually schedule this post or share this post immediately. I'm actually going to schedule this post and I am going to post it to my Hello Spring podcast Instagram account. I'm also going to post it on Twitter, LinkedIn, and that's where I'm going to be posting it, because the way I'm going to do it on the back end is that I'm going to have to add myself and Azamara as a collaborator on my phone, since on Adobe Express we don't have that capability just yet. But the good part about this is that I can add a caption and everything. I can also add my own little comment at the bottom if I want to, and then I can just schedule it. But I'm going to just set this as a draft for now, and I'm going to actually schedule this for tomorrow. But the good part is I can always come back to do this and change some things before I actually post it. But I am going to post it on Monday, and I'm going to post it at 10 a.m. Central. And we're going to just add this as a draft, but I might just go in and schedule it because it's okay, but I'm going to add the caption later. But as long as I have this all said and done, I can now look at my social media calendar and see what is being scheduled where and what. I already have my podcast stuff announcement on here too, because I was working on that earlier, but that's being posted on Tuesday. I'm going to make some other social media stuff for this week and hopefully next week, because I want to make sure I have a lot of things to post on social. I'm trying to be more active on Instagram more. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's just springsims. I'm the yellow boy of the internet. You can find me literally on every single platform. I'm everywhere. But that essentially is how I use Adobe Express as a content creator and also a podcaster. But either way, friends, I'm gonna end it off here for today. I do hope you all enjoyed as much as I did. Hopefully it was knowledgeable, relaxing, insightful. It might be a very chunky vlog, but we'll have to see once I'm done editing. But regardless, I do hope you all enjoy your day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all next time. Bye. Say goodbye, Randy Joe. Goodbye. Oh, he's so cute. Ooh, a big yawn. Okay, night-night.